Hello, wonderful people of YouTube. This little thing I'm going to be doing is basically taking other people's full game clips, talking over top of them, and seeing what you think to them, as well as showing you the good points and the bad points of their play. We're going to be starting off with Anglo-Saxon. This is a PS4 special. It's in the T10, formerly known as the ISA. We're on the summer variant of Mountain Pass, as you all know quite well. It is starting to come up a lot more, so it's a lot nice. We're starting off in what looks to be like a normal way of going, split. Got a lot of people going down right, a lot of people going down left. The first start of the map itself is just going to purely be where can we go, can we get forward as fast as we can, and this is one of the aggressive plays that I like seeing because you're able to push forward and take the advantage of being able to get to key points first. In J2 is sort of a really good area. At the moment the AMX-12T has managed to rush over the top, try and spot the people on the other side and stay low for other people on our team to get shots onto them. Now fortunately, with the fact that a lot of their team have stayed where they are, it is quite viable to sit back and shoot them because you will take out a lot of tanks regardless who they are, even if they are lower tier than you, in the case here where we're shooting Motherland, and other cases where you just take guns out from the game. But already it's off to a bad start, more so on the right side, two of the tanks are already dead. I don't particularly like this spawn on the top bottom right where you're going towards the water. It just seems to be a big stalemate, shooting people who are up on top of a hill. Unless you can just hold back and try and avoid artillery fire, that would be a really good method. But aside from that, I don't really like it. I prefer to go around this side because you're on an even playing field. You can shoot them as much as what they can shoot you. And if you, such as in this case, if you see where they all are and they're all sat back, you can push forward to this point and be able to control it. But because we've taken a slight delay in getting there and a lot of people have spotted them and wanted to shoot, there's only one or two tanks that have actually come this way from the other team, whereas on our side we're still all here. This causes a bit of a problem for the red team. They've only got two tanks to push forward with, and this team have got quite a few going forward, so there isn't really much they can do other than hold off. But it's very, very difficult when you've got two tanks up against probably three or four, and as you can see it's not really going well for them. The other T10, Saxon's put some decent shots into him, getting nice damage rolls. And also one of the other advantages of fighting your own tank is you can sort of work out what the reload is, and from that be able to judge whether you can go forward and take the shot or not. What's more beneficial is if you've got a tank which has got the most amount of perks, literally the best setup for the quickest reload possible, you will have a really good chance of being able to know when it is you can shoot. Although in that case it did kind of miss and is being a bit penalised from the M103 from behind. Now they are starting to lose a lot of tanks, but again, this is coming from the stalemate on the right hand side in D8. All they need to do at the moment on this side is take them out as quickly as possible and push around if they can. But that's not looking to be the case that they were able to. Because the team fell quite quickly on the water, Saxons realised there's going to be a massive flank that's going to be opening up. So now it's turned into a base defend. You're three tanks down, albeit that the tanks that have been removed have been fairly decent. Your T10, yes, team, you like tanks, but you're still outnumbered. And so at the moment it's going to be the case that he's going to have to push back, try and hold off the people as much as possible, and maybe go on to win the game. But this is what we're looking to try and do. So the situational awareness on this, because he's using the large map, he's able to see what's going on everywhere without having to press the back button. A bit of a mere RNG deciding that the shot wasn't going to hit there. But this is a good argument for why the large map is better than the smaller map. Your situational awareness of what's going on gives you the view of what you should be doing. And at the moment now, they're losing even more tanks. So what seems to be happening is the team on the left are going to carry on pushing around. It's likely that they're going to try and go on for the cap, but they're going to run into the issue which they are in now. C2, C3 is a tank destroyer. Being the type of people that you tend to come across in the game, they will try their hardest to take the tank out, but they may spend too long trying to take it out because they want to get the damage. They may think the game's already over and lost, we might as well try and get the damage in. It is very difficult to tell if that's going to be the case or not, but it's worth trying to try and push, make the enemy make the mistake. There's no point trying to sit back and shoot the person who's on top of a hill, because he's not only going to expose himself to shoot you, but you're then delaying your move forward. So at the moment, it's kind of an imbalance. Now they are 4 tanks down, but there are some people on their team who have gone back to base. You can see there's a heavy tank up there, and at the moment, the idea of as it is and what you can see Saxon is doing is to remove the 2 tanks that he knew was on the bridge. Now, just bear in mind that there are people pushing up the right hand side, and if you can see, But this is possible that you can do this because the hill that you have to go up in G8 and G9 is quite large, and he's seen that there's a medium back on base. So one of the other things you've got to look at is, right, I can do all these types of things where go forward, take out Nashorn, take out the Freedom, and know that when something actually pops up on base, they've got a medium that they have to shoot at. So again, the same principle comes into play. People will want to shoot the tank and get damage in, rather than actually trying to push around and take them out quickly. They'll prefer to sit back, and it kind of throws into a dilemma that they shouldn't be in. They should be pushing forward. They should be trying to surround the motherland. He's only got one shot. There's multiple tanks that they can go around, but they don't. They sit back. So this allows a really good opportunity to base defend and base defend well. Fortunately, because Saxon's T10 is nigh on full health, he's going to have a really good chance of not only bouncing with really good armor, but also have the HP to withstand hits from many of those tanks. So as it is, he's coming up against the IS-3, nice little snapshot on there. Taking a few hits from the light tank can be a bit annoying, the 12T, especially if it's firing premium. Although the reload and the bloom isn't something to write home about. But again, because the IS-3 didn't push around, have you seen how much health he's got? So it's a genuine wonder why he didn't. When I see people making decisions in games, which I look at it and think, what are you doing that for? I try and ask the question, why? Why are they doing that? And it just seems to be that they're not taking into account what's happening in the game. They think they're all okay. They think they're going to go through and go on and win. Not the case in all games. You need to play it as if even if you're so many games in front, unless you're physically winning 10-1, where you can sit back and try not to take damage and try in every way to actually make sure you're not going to be losing silver and just trying to maximize your profit, you kind of want to take the risk anyway. And as it turns out, it is kind of a mismatch how this game actually ends up going. But somehow there's a T10. This is another thing I don't know. There's a T10 on their team with full health and he's firing heat. What has he been doing the entire game? It'd be really nice to know. But it looks to be kind of like a base defend. As it is now, because their team went round and base defended their own side, it delayed the game even further. So if their team pushed round to cap our base, our team ran round to cap their base. What ended up being, we started capping their base, they base defended, we went round to ours, we base defended. That's more or less what's happened. So there's like each team has done the right thing in terms of taking them out, but they didn't do it 100% the right way that they should have done. I hesitate to say other than that you can't properly see what actually happened in the game. Their base defense was slightly better than the one here because of the amount of support that they had going forward. Saxon was pretty much on his own. The medium Motherland had taken quite a few hits and was in a stalemate between an IS-3 and an AMX-12T, so couldn't do much, and the artillery wasn't helping, so there was few tanks. But him coming back to actually help and then form the fact that you can go on, kind of defend the base, kind of then go forward and take out the other people. These are all the things that you'd be going through. As it turns out, yes, he can. Not only can he and the M103 remove the T10 full health that's firing heat, lol, he's then able to go, right, let's go on and win the game. These are the last two tanks in the game. And I believe it's a J-Panther. Yeah, a J-Panther 2 and a light tank that's left in the game. So all the heavy hitters have gone out. You got two top tier heavy tanks versus one tank now. The T-71 has just been obliterated. And it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's got to the point where 14 damaging hits later, he's having to fire heat from his T10 because he's more or less run out of ammunition. And this is a foregone conclusion that if you're going to hit the J-Panther 2, you are going to hit him well and penetrate his armour. One of the other factors is that he's not got that much health compared to how much damage roll he can get. 470. The J-Panther is in a very tough position. He has a gun which can fire and deal a lot of damage, and if he fires heat, it is likely to go through. Maybe he should have done that, but it is possible he's got ammo racked, we don't know. The whole game has turned out to be that Saxon has taken the idea of what's happening on the game because of the large mini-map, going back to his base to base defend, but doing the base defense properly, in that he's trying not to expose himself too much when he's going round. He hasn't got the proper support like the other teams had, as you can see, because of the amount of people that came around the flank, the IS-3, the full health T10 and the T-71 light tank. But he is taking it all in the stride, and with some help from the M103 who's eventually been taken out, it is more or less now a foregone conclusion that they'll end up winning, unless the J-Panther 2 gets a very, very lucky shot, but we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. And this is one thing that I strive to show, and I want people to know, is the situational awareness in games, to know what is the best decision to make, whether it's going to be a case of, do I go and cap the base, do I go and base defend, do I go and support this position. I can see an open flank forming here because we're losing so many tanks, so it must be that they're coming up this other way. These are the things that will make you a better tanker, is understanding what's happening in the game, rather than being good at the game by the way of doing damage or improving your stats or whatever that is. The best way of being able to play it is to win the game, but win the game with knowledge, knowing how to play it, knowing where to play certain positions, how tanks work, whether you've got the armor to go through people, whether you haven't got the armor to go through people. And in this case, you can have games like this where you absolutely phenomenally do really, really well and end up getting a Bradley Walters medal. I mean, look at the amount of XP that is in the silver. 5.7k in damage. That's a fair amount. So unfortunately, I didn't get a proper mastery 99% badge, but there you go. RNG, we'll blame that. There will be other videos coming out. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you'll be able to learn something from it and how people play. But if you do like the videos, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.